Hello and welcome to Universal Laws with Kristy Sturdivant. We are here in March and we are weeks away from the Equinox shifting seasons, so it feels like the perfect time to dive into the law of action. Now, the law of action is one of those kind of lesser talked about laws. I think it's one of those things that is mentioned in passing. But in my mind, the law of action's buddy law is the law of attraction. Because as much as we want to attract things into our life, the reality is we are not going to attract anything unless we actually take some kind of action to help pull it in, right? We can't sit on the ground and meditate for 4 hours and then have a new car appear in our driveway, right? We have to research the car. We have to pick out the car we want. We have to actually go and test drive the car. We have to usually go and do some kind of action in order to make something like this happen. And so there is a lot of things that I've been contemplating for this particular month, because I do think that there are different kinds of actions that are out there, and there are different kinds of actions that we need to consider, or even taking no actions before we move forward. So I'm going to leave you with this today. There are regular actions. There are what I will call like mosquito or wasp actions. Those are your busy work kind of actions that are kind of buzzing around with no real purpose. That's going to get you where you want to go. And then there are your inspired actions. Those are your honeybees or pollinator actions. Those are the ones that are very purposeful and very intentional. They don't always have to be difficult, but sometimes they can be, because we usually have to do some kind of reprogramming or inner shifting in order to really take those really major actions. But those inspired actions, those ones where you're like sitting there wondering like, how am I going to manifest $5,000 for this thing? Those are those actions or those moments that come in. You're like, oh my gosh, this is what I can do. And then you have to decide to take that action, because it's usually a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more uncomfortable, but it's very inspired. Those actions are one of those are the big inspired actions that are going to give you those quantum leap moments. Whereas your busy actions, those are not necessarily going to move you forward in a way that you want to go, because they just don't have the same kind of inspired energy around them. So two different kinds of actions, but broken down into so many different subcategories. And I feel right now, with this energy of the shifting of the seasons, it's a perfect time to really consider what kind of actions are you taking in your life right now? I know for me, I always have a lot of things and goals that I want to accomplish, but sometimes I just don't take the right inspired actions because they're a little bit too difficult at the moment, or I'm a little bit nervous about doing them and I'm hesitating. And I just feel like this is a really good way for me to work through some of the actions that I want to take, and for us to consider what it would look like if we were to take different kinds of actions in our life to kind of move us forward, that is in not such a scary way. Because when it comes down to it, I think one of the reasons that we don't take actual inspired actions and we get stuck in the mosquito actions is because it disrupts some kind of pattern that we have been stuck in for some time, and it makes us feel insecure. It makes us feel unsafe. It makes us vibrating at that sense of fear that we're like, oh, I don't know if that happens, what what is next? I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that. So it's a great month to talk about this law, and I'm super excited to dive into it with you. And so I want to, this week, as we are moving into this, growth energy of the fire horse, lunar new year, and moving towards the equinox, and even moving in through this eclipse season, think about the actions or habits, if you will, or any kind of structures that you are putting into place, and kind of reconsider them for a moment and think, is this a habit, or is this a system that is going to put me to where I want to be? Or is this something that I am just doing because I'm used to doing it, or it makes me feel safe and secure, but it's not really kind of making me expand in some way? I have been doing a lot of evaluating around this myself. So, what better way to help me get through my hurdle than to talk about it with you? Because that's how I process these things, and that's how I am processing these fears and all of this really chaotic energy that is coming up around me consistently. I have to kind of look and be like, okay, what's the action I'm going to take to move through this energy, transmute this energy, use this energy in a way that is going to help me expand into the person I want to be. So March, super exciting, law of action, and we're going to dive into it in various ways this month. And until next time, have a great day.